Okay, so today I'm going to be showing you how to clean and prep your horn. There's going to be no carving today. This is just going to be cleaning and sealing with beeswax. Here are my selection of horns. These are already sanded and polished. They just don't have any sealing, and I need to clean the inside. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today. This one right here, do not worry about that sticker. This one is selected to be a present for somebody. So first we're going to go ahead and clean the horn. Okay, can you get a good look at me right here? So I'm just over the sink. Now what I'm going to do is I have my horn right here, and I have one of these kind of brushes. This one might be a little, no, that one should work right good. I have a couple of different sizes of these, and it really doesn't matter. You can buy these at the dollar store or any a pet store or sports or anything you could use. These are for cleaning bottles. You can find these almost anywhere. The dollar store is where you could find them too. So what I do is put a little bit of Dawn soap in there. Dawn soap really helps to clear out any grime or any dirt that's in there. It helps sanitize too, and it's food safe, which is very important. You don't want to put any kind of chemicals in here because you will be drinking out of it, of course. So this is what I do first, is with soap, Dawn soap especially. Afterward, we're going to be pouring boiling water in there. The boiling water will help to kill anything that's left in there after we're done cleaning it. So let's just go ahead, fill it up with a little bit of water to get that soap going. And we're just going to scrub the heck out of it. Make sure you get everything in there. Now, if you notice that your horn is a bit smelly, what you want to do is you want to soak it in vinegar, like cleaning vinegar or just white vinegar. You want to just soak it for a couple hours overnight. That will help get rid of any of the smell. It will help. It might not get rid of all of it, but it certainly will help. Cleaning it like this will help get it the rest of the way. All right, so I think I got it pretty good there. See all this soap coming out? We're just gonna rinse it off real good. I'll let it overrun like this because it'll help push all the soap out until it's just water coming out. All right, it's just water coming out. Now the next thing we want to do is use boiling water. So right here I have a welding glove. You do not need a welding glove. You can use a rag, or you can use a pot holder, anything. I just like my welding glove because it's a glove, it's thick, and the heat won't get through it. Not only will the water drip down onto your hand and it will burn, but the horn itself will retain the heat and it will come out and burn your hand while you're holding it. So you definitely want something to help mitigate that heat. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the boiling water now. All the way till about the top there. I just let it sit for a couple of seconds to make sure it kills everything. Once you're done, just pour the water back into your pot. If you're only doing one horn, you can just dump the water out, but I'm doing multiple horns, so I'm reusing the water so it stays hot. So now this horn is ready. I'm going to go ahead and do a few more. See the steam coming out of it, maybe? Kind of. Yeah, I can't see on the computer, and the phone, but I'm going to go ahead and put this one to the side on a clean surface. I'm going to do the rest of them like this, and then we'll go on to the ceiling. Okay, so now the next thing you want to do, I got my boiling water here. Now it's not boiling yet because I just put some more water in there to make up for lost water during that process. what you want is preferably a can and a pot that you will not use for anything else, because this part gets a little messy in terms of utensils, and it's a pain in the ass to clean. I needed to use that word. It's not a pain in the butt, it's a pain in the ass. I have a soup can. I've been using this one for a while, so it's all covered in wax. There's some hard wax in there, and what you want to do is put this in the water so it melts, and that's how we're going to exchange the wax into the horns. I'll show you that process, but first I need to let this heat up. We're going to let this heat up, and if you want to know what kind of wax I use, the bag is opened upside down, so I have to hold it a little bit. So this is the wax right here. It's by Frontier. That's the name of the company. It's called Frontier, and it's just beeswax beads. They're organic, non-toxic. They're used for lip balm, so it goes on your lips. It's obviously not going to be toxic. It's organic. I said that already. But they come in little beads like this, so it makes it very easy to melt. But they're not going to melt right away. I need to wait for this to melt because it's a big solid clump, so it's going to take longer. Then I'll throw these in there. Now they will not melt right away. They might melt a little bit and then clump up, and then it's going to take a little while. You just have to be patient. It might take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but once it's completely liquid, then you go ahead and put it in the horns, and I'll show you that next. Your can might want to float on the water. You're going to need a lid anyway to keep all of the wax from coming up. Ooh. Got a little bit of water on there, but a lot of that is wax, and that will get on everywhere else on your stovetop, so you do want a lid because the wax likes to jump a lot. I'm going to use, if I can, there's no wax in the can right now, so it wants to float. There we go. That'll help hold down the can from floating and keep all the wax inside with all the water. I got a little bit right here, but it's fine. That's a little bit is easy to clean up with a scraper. You just don't want it all over the place, which it will happen if you do not have a lid. So I'm going to go ahead and let this heat up. While we wait for the wax to melt, I have this box here of raw horns. They're not sanded, polished, or carved. And I'm planning on making a video on how to carve these. I also have this one here that is polished, and I'm going to be turning this one into a cup. Or maybe, I don't know if I want to use it, have a handle yet or not, but I definitely want to turn this one into a cup. If, I could probably get a shot glass out of there too, which is good. You get 2 for 1 with a size this big or larger. Like this buddy right here. Look how big this one is. You could easily get 2 cups and probably a shot glass or 2 out of just this one big horn right here. But I'm actually going to keep this one large because some people really like the big horns, but I have one that's really massive that is a little too big for some people. Like this one right here, which is absolutely massive. But if you want to learn how to carve horns like this one right here, I'm going to have another video up on how to carve them on one of these guys right here that's still raw and rough. And then I will sand them down and make them shiny like this one right here. This one is not as shiny as some of the more polished ones, but I figured it was a more aesthetically looking, aesthetically pleasing for one like this. It really depends on what you're going for. Some people like the more super polished ones. Some people like them more rough, like this one right here. This one has natural battle damage on it and is super rough. It was actually sharp in a lot of places. Now I did sand it down so it's not sharp, but it's a lot smoother to hold, but it still contains that more rusted, rugged look, and matches with the more bear, berserker Viking look. So it really depends on what you're going for, if you want a more polished, classy one, or a more rough and rugged one like this one. But I'll definitely show you how to do that on another video. Now let's get back to the wax. Okay, I'm gonna check to see if the wax is melted yet. Oh, it's almost there. It's in a big clump right now, but it's about half melted. I actually added in the beads. That's why it's clumped up right now. The original solid piece that was in there is already melted, so it just needs a few more minutes. In the meantime, what you want to do is get a plastic bag, like a grocery bag or something. I got this Publix bag, and you want to lay it in your sink like this. Now, remember what I said about the spilling with the boiling water? Well, that's just water. If you get wax up into your sink here, if it was just on the surface, you could scrape it off. It's still a bit of a pain in the ass to clean, but you want is the bag to catch most of the wax. If you can catch most of the wax, that's less cleanup, and that's much easier and faster for you afterward. What you don't want is, especially if it goes down a drain. If it goes down a drain, especially on this side where it has the disposal, all that wax is going to get caught up in there, and there's no getting it out. So you do not want it to get down your drain at all. Cover your drain with the bag if you need to, but you want the bag to catch most of the wax. If like a drop lands here or here, you can just use a scraper and then something abrasive, and it'll come right out. It's easy to get up a couple of pieces, like I said earlier, but when you get a whole bunch of it spilling out, it's very nasty. So prep yourself while you're waiting for the wax to melt. So I'm going to give you a quick tutorial before I do it. It's almost ready. It's just got a little bit of clump left to melt, probably in the next minute or two. So I found a second rag. My glove is in the trunk and I don't want to go get it right now. This is probably not going to be too good for holding the can, so I'm going to use my glove for holding the can, and the rag I'm going to use for holding the horn. You're going to hold it and kind of give it a little bit of a buffer, so if something drips, then it'll catch on the rag and not on you. What you want to do is take your can. Do I have something to use as a can? I do. I'll use this. You want to take your can, pour the wax in, and immediately pour it back in. Well, immediately, you still want to go with a slow manner, but don't sit. If you sit, the wax will pool and solidify, and then you're never getting it out, basically, unless you pour hot water in there. So you want to pour your wax in and pour it out, and give it a little bit of a twist while you do that, and it helps cover more surface area. And the second it leaves the horn, you'll see what's left over is pretty much solid, because it cools down and it solidifies right away. So you want to keep doing that, turning your horn, and you want to just keep rotating your horn, pouring it in and out until all of it is covered on the inside. And when I'm done, I'm going to put it to the side on that clean surface, the little island that's right here, and then I'll show you what I do next. Now this is just for me. Once you're done, you can go ahead and start basically using it. The next part, what I do is, because since I resell these, I like to cover the outside in ceramic wrap with a little bit of tape. That way it stays as clean as the day I waxed and sealed it. So when you buy from me, you can guarantee it stays sanitary. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and wax these horns, and you can watch me. Alright, now I have it completely sealed. All of it around is sealed. So I'm going to go ahead and put this aside, and I'm going to do the rest. Now if you do see that this wax is starting to get a little chunky and it's starting to solidify, put it back in and let it sit for a few minutes to re-liquefy. So I replaced the brown bag. bigger bag just for more surface area. I ended up spilling a tiny bit on my glove and everything, but it's fine. There's no mess on the sink. But I did that just to be safe. Now you can see there's a little bit on the edges right there. You can just use your nail and just kind of scrape it like this and get all that off. I'll press down on it and kind of mold it to be soft while it's still warm, so it's moldable. Just do that, and there you go, just like that. So I went ahead and did all of them, and I'm going to now show you what I do after I do this. But first, clean up, clean scent. Okay, so what you want to do is get some plastic wrap. And this is good practice for when you're not using your horn. So when you're done with your Renaissance fair or a convention or something, you can do this and it helps keep it clean. You want to clean it first, let it dry, and then do this. That way if it's stored away for a while, it'll stay clean while it's stored and won't accumulate any dust or dirt in there. Just wrap it on the top. And then I kind of flatten out the excess and wrap it around so it kind of makes like a cap, like this. Then I'll take some masking tape. You can use really any kind of tape. I use masking tape because I need to write down the size. And I'll put it on the cling wrap and not on the horn, that way you don't get any of the glue from the tape on the horn. Now what I do to size it, if you were looking to buy one of these from me on my Etsy store, I measure with the curve of the horn. So this, I normally have a different tape measure, but this is the one I'm stuck with right now. So it's about 11 inches. I got my Sharpie. And that's 11 inches. And I always sell by the size. So this is a nice little guy right here, so it's probably going to be about $30. I'm going to go ahead and clean this one up. This is the one that spilled on my glove here. It's not too big of a mess. It landed on the outside. But let me show you what you could do if you get a little bit on the horn of this. Now I always wash with it hanging down so nothing goes up inside. I'm just using a little bit of Dawn soap so it's not gonna hurt it. It's gonna stay clean, especially with Dawn soap, and we're just using water to wash it off. But now it's at least clean. But before we tape it, we want to let it dry.